When we moved here from Charles Street, we were running out of space. The congregation was growing, the religious school was growing, the sanctuary and the social hall were one, and it became very difficult to have life cycle events at the temple. The religious school, there wasn't enough room for all the children to come to the school, so there were multiple sessions that had to happen, and in some cases, I think maybe even off-site. So it was kind of a natural evolution, and the congregants realized, the board realized, that we needed to move forward and expand the building.
The service that was very small and very sort of more traditional, I guess, and there was a lot of chanting of melody, but not really a lot of singing. And I was learning, and I was going through the conversion process, and so I talked to Rabbi Hachen at the time and was asking, what's the Jewish stance on music? So she was, at that time, very excited because Debbie Friedman was in her heyday of composing wonderful music, and Kol Beseder, and there were so many other great artists. New music was coming out, and the kids were coming back from summer camps and nifty programs with all this really, really fun music. She wanted to introduce it more as well, but it was so small and there were so few musical people. It was really Debbie Hachen who started a small choir. There was one person who was actually a professional cantor. His name was Howard, and about 4 or 5 of us congregants, and I think she was the choir director at that time. It was very informal, it was very simple, but we did do some songs, sort of the first choir in Charles Street, and it was really cool. And then from there, some wonderful people got involved over the years with music, and lots of great things. Lots of great changes and great things happened while preserving some of the old melodies, but also bringing in a lot of the newer music and bringing in concerts so that we could hear more of the pop new music as well as the liturgical music. Lots of fun stuff. We still do Turmspiels, but back in the early days, they were wild and crazy, and there would always be somebody who was worried that, wait, we didn't do the music right, but it was all right, because it was Purim, and we were just having a great time. It was really funny. Crazy costumes and all that kind of stuff.
When I came to services, in the early 80s here, it was just a wonderful, welcoming environment where people actually cared about your lives, and there was a small group of us that would come on Friday nights, and we would just have a nice oneg afterwards and chit-chat for a half hour, and it just was such a welcoming community that it just made me want to get involved and do more and do as much as I could to help the community.
And mine is similar. When I walked in, I was trying to understand this whole converting to Judaism thing and whether I fit and how it felt. And when I walked into Charles Street, I just felt at home. It was just wonderful. It was so warm and so inviting and so personal, and it was just great. I grew up in Ashland, he grew up in Worcester, so we were new to Westboro as a town. And not being raised Jewish, I got involved pretty early on with the early childhood programs. And it was, again, more of that community. It was a way for me to meet other Jewish people, because I didn't know any Jewish people. And with the kids, obviously, it's kind of like having a dog, right? It's an icebreaker. So I just met some wonderful, wonderful people who are our friends today.
One of the happiest moments of my life in the temple was that Rabbi Gervitz just gave us the opportunity to do an aliyah over high holidays, and there were actually 4 generations of us there. And that was just something that was so special to me. I don't know, it doesn't get much better than that.